At the White House, where it's gathering senior officials and pharmaceutical company leaders to discuss the next generation of COVID-19 vaccinations for the United States. The high-profile summit is taking place right now in our nation's capital. Opening remarks were made by White House COVID-19 response coordinator, Dr. Ashish Jha. He laid out the groundwork on what comes next in the response to this viral and deadly disease. You can see Dr. Anthony Fauci speaking right now, addressing, or actually that's earlier today, Dr. Ashish Jha, Dr. Anthony Fauci addressing the group now. Let's bring in Chief Innovation Officer at Boston Children's Hospital and also ABC News medical contributor, Dr. John Brownstein, along with ABC News senior national policy reporter Ann Flaherty, along with ABC's Zareen Jha as well. All right, Dr. Brownstein, not much has stood out so far, but they did kind of lay out the groundwork, Dr. Fauci, also Dr. Jha, about that they'll be discussing the science, the manufacturing challenges, equity and distribution going forward, also confidence in vaccines, and hopefully distributing more on a regular basis that are more effective. So as we kind of kick off this summit, what have you heard so far that stands out to you, and where do you hope they go from here?
Well, Kira, I think, it was highly aspirational. We do need a new generation of vaccines that are more durable, that can stand up to variants, that can protect us no matter what, and can go beyond severe illness and death, really protect us against transmission and infection. And I think we're starting to hear the beginnings of that, right? Because this variant chasing that we're doing now is not sustainable. So we need these new vaccines. Though the bar is very high, the mRNA vaccines that we have currently are doing an effective job of preventing severe illness. They're incredibly safe. So to get these new vaccines, whether they're nasal sprays or pan-coronavirus vaccines, which are incredibly, exciting, we need to, a lot of years in front of us to get to that point. So incredibly exciting science that's unfolding, but we have current questions that we have currently about boosters, what it will look like in the next 3 months, how we're going to make sure we're distributing these vaccines equitably, and how we're going to overcome hesitancy. So a lot more that I'm hoping to hear over the course of the day.
And a few specifics, Ann, that were laid out, including the goal of producing thousands of doses in just a few days of more effective vaccines. Seems like a tall order.
Absolutely. We heard from Dr. Fauci just now saying our job is not done. I think this is really the first time that the White House has taken a big step back from this crisis and said, okay, what do we need to do to move forward so that this isn't part of our daily lives? I mean, so many people are coming down with this virus, being knocked out of work for 5 days at a time. Even if you are vaccinated and you're not ending up in the hospital, it's still a nuisance, and it's hurting our economy, and it's something that Biden had hoped to be done with. So this is really about how do you stop this game of cat and mouse? How do you move forward in a way that really would benefit not just the U.S., but also the world, and trying to stay on top of that. So absolutely, tall order, a lot that they need to talk about.
And Ann, not just figuring out additional vaccines and working the effectiveness of them, but also we're starting to deal with long COVID and people that are experiencing symptoms and conditions that were not expected at the very beginning of this.
That's right. I mean, the latest studies found that 1 in 5 people who've had COVID end up with these long-term symptoms, and it's something that we haven't really researched yet. We don't know exactly what causes it. This research that they're talking about today, talking about, sort of this universal vaccine and whether or not it's possible, that could go a long way to address some of the concerns that people with long COVID have. All of this TBD, though, Akira, and a lot of it will come down to support and funding in Congress, which has not been secured yet.
Zareen, could we hear from the president? Are you still isolating at the White House since testing positive?
We'll see, Kira, but he did speak to Karen Travers yesterday. He said he was feeling great, although even though his voice was a little bit raspy, and he said he had a small sore throat and a cough, but he says he expects to make a full recovery. He wants to work in person very soon. And of course, then he also highlighted he had 4 major events yesterday. Of course, those were all virtual events on Monday. The optics, of course, are so important, right? This is the oldest president who's been elected. They know it's an uphill climb for him between now and the November elections for his party. So they're projecting a president who is at work, even though it's virtual. He hopes to be fully back to work in person by the end of the week. He says he is still keeping up with all those tests, those oxygen tests, the blood work. And we know that, they're monitoring him for a potential rebound as well. He's been on the treatment Paxlovid. And so there is a very, very small chance, an 8% chance that he could actually rebound. And so they're watching for that right now.
And John, of course, we're concerned about our kids. And earlier, White House COVID-19 response coordinator Dr. Ashish Shah did mention there at the beginning of the summit that the FDA is still evaluating the second boosters for all ages. Is that what we need right now as these new variants continue to pop up?
No, Kira, this is a really tricky tightrope right now because these second boosters are important for older populations, those that are immunocompromised. They are reducing the risk of severe illness and death, but we're dealing with the BA.5 variant, the most immune evasive variant that we've seen. It's unclear whether a second booster in the younger, healthier population makes that much sense, and we're running out of time. We're going to have these new and improved boosters in the fall. We don't want to block people out from getting those, and we don't want to create booster fatigue. So, it's going to be unclear whether we're going to see a recommendation or at least just allow for people to get that second booster if they choose so. And especially since we do have a lot of doses that are going to potentially expire soon. So really some challenging questions in front of the White House and CDC right now.
We'll continue to follow the summit and bring everybody all the latest details and, of course, talk more about it. And Zorine, John, thank you so much.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.